to Anatomy of Chi, Volume 1, Chapter 6. What I do recommend for the people who are watching this video, every now and then you might need to go back and watch some of the earlier ones to give you some definitions and some ideas that I might go over in later videos, which you may remember or may not remember. If you're new to the videos, you might want to go back and watch those first. You don't have to, but you might want to. Today I'm going to talk about energy in a little different way. We're going to step sideways a little bit. We're going to talk about headaches. Do you have headaches? Do you have friends who have headaches? It's a common problem, and we're going to address energically some of the causes and some of the things I could show you that can help break that problem up. Energy basically can be looked at as a vibration. Let's take a look at, think about a wave. The surf coming from the ocean to the beach. It's a wave. It's a waveform. Okay? It's a wave. It's moving. There's some energy pushing it. It's moving it. If we go a step deeper than that, we have the Earth. The Earth doesn't feel like it has any energy to us. It's just a rock. It doesn't appear to be moving. I mean, it is in the solar system, but for our knowledge in the moment where I'm sitting right now, I don't feel the Earth moving, yet it is. It is a thick, dense energy. At the other end of the spectrum is the sun. The sun has very fine energy. They're called photons, if you haven't studied physics. Those photons come down and they allow life to live as we know it on Earth. The grass couldn't grow, the cows and animals couldn't eat the grass, so on and so forth. We need to have the sun enlightening the Earth through its highly energic vibrations. So between that spectrum of very dense, very thick, very heavy energies, the Earth, and very fine, very light, very active energies, the sun, okay, there's a spectrum. And it's in that spectrum that human life exists. So in us, we have, as a microcosm, if you will, energies that are thicker and more dense, like the Earth, like our bones. Less dense than that are the muscles and tendons. Less dense than that is the blood and the organs. And as you get finer and finer, you have the emotions, which are kind of like the photons of the sun. You could feel them, but you can't touch them. And thoughts. Also, you know that you have them, but you can't touch them. So just like the Earth and the sun, our own body is a microcosm of that system with a whole spectrum of energies, from more dense to less dense. Okay? The ones that are less dense move at a higher vibration. By the way, when we see something, let's say we see a puppy running across the street. The first thing that happens is, a puppy running across the street. That's our emotions. They are fast. And then all of a sudden, the puppy turns back. Oh, we calm down. The body responds with tension after the reaction occurs to the puppy running across the street. And don't worry, no puppies were harmed in the filming of this video. Going onward. It's when so how do we know these energies are flowing correctly in our body? You feel fine. There's no disturbance. If your blood's flowing like it's supposed to, if you're feeling a full complement of emotions during a 24-hour period, which I mentioned in an earlier video, everything's fine, you're happy, you get a little upset about something, you get over it. That's the normal flow of energies. But if the energy starts to congest, if it starts to get more dense in an area where it's not supposed to be that dense, you start to get pain, which leads to disease. Now, it doesn't happen like immediately. It's not like you get a bruise and you get a disease. But let's talk about a bruise. Let's say you bruise your arm. That's a congestion of blood vessels. The blood can't flow through there. It gets bigger. You get a bump. It gets brown. It hurts. It's sore. That's congested energy. That's blocked chi. When I was a kid, when I was 15, my teacher taught me, and I wish I would have listened to everything he taught me. At the time, it took me years to figure out his wisdom. That's a whole nother video. He would show me how to rub out my bruises and injuries. And he says, you got to keep the energy flowing. I'm a young kid, and it was all I was excited about doing martial arts, but it was all foreign to me still. So I did it anyway, and I never had any problems with my arms and legs. I got hit, I got bruised, I worked it out. Okay, I was working out the potential for energy blockages. Now later on, if I didn't do that, now that I'm a chiropractor, most of the stuff I deal with is unresolved injuries. People that hurt themselves when they were 15 and they didn't rub it out, they didn't get adjusted, they didn't massage it, they didn't get physical therapy, they didn't do something for it, and as a result it comes back to haunt them. So here's my story. I used to get hit when I was a kid in the mouth a lot in martial arts, and the reason is that emotional energy that I talked about, like seeing the puppy run across the street, would come up in me when somebody would throw a punch at me in karate, and I would try to block and I would freeze and I'd get hit anyway. It took me a couple of years to work that out and figure out that it was my emotions that were blocking my physical body. What happened was when I got hit in the mouth, he showed me points to press on to keep the energy flowing. And because there were no missing teeth and there was no blood and I wasn't dying, I didn't do it. When I got to my 20s, I needed a lot of root canals. I would go to the dentist and they would say to me, we don't even know why this nerve is dead. It's just there's no blood flowing through it. Finally, I went to an acupuncturist, Dr. Luke Cow, if you're listening to this, thank you very much, up in Reno, Nevada. And he said to me, he goes, did you ever get hit in your mouth? And the light came on. It's like, my God, I didn't press on those points that my teacher showed me. So this is where my problem manifested. Every time I had emotional stress, every time I had physical stress, it tended to go to the jaw, and then the teeth, which are in the jaw, would die. Okay? Had a lot of root canals, like 30. So it wasn't just a random thing. It wasn't just a cavity. I don't have that many cavities. It was just from getting hit in the mouth and not dealing with the energy block. So in Chinese medicine, they say first you have an energy block, then you have a benign cyst, then you have a malignant tumor. Well, a benign cyst in this case could be a little swelling. It could be a little abscess. It could be something. You wouldn't get cancer. Oh, maybe you would. But what happens is it manifests as greater and greater pain and energy blockages. So let's talk about the head. Okay, the energy is always supposed to be flowing through the head. So we have a full, my head feels good. I can move my neck. I can think clearly. And all of a sudden, that's how you know your energy is flowing correctly. You just feel okay. You just feel totally normal. What happens is something upsetting happens, and you feel a bit more tense, and you can't get your head's wrapped around it. You can't stop it, and all of a sudden, all your energy starts going to your head. You can't eat right. When you do eat, you get a little upset stomach. Why do you get an upset stomach? Because the energy that's normally used for digestion is now being used and to release the enzymes to digest the food. There's the science link. The energy starts going up to the head. No, I can't think straight. All of a sudden, there's more and more tension in the head. The muscle tension is building because the energy is congested, and it manifests as a headache, and it hurts. Okay, and there are migraine stuff. There's a whole spectrum of headaches. That's a whole nother video, but for the purposes of this video, as you can see, if the energy in Chinese medicine and Tai Chi, the whole philosophy, the energy is supposed to flow up the back, up over the top of the head and down the front. What happens is if it gets there and it stays there, it gets congested. By the way, let's go to the other end. Okay, let's talk about your intestines. If you hold your tension in your gut, guess what happens? You get constipated. So there's the other end of the spectrum. A lot of people, they hold it in there, smiling all the time. They hold their tension up. Okay, hey Bob, I'm fine. Yeah, rough day at work, but I'm good. Yeah. And guess what? They're holding it inside. They get ulcers. They get stomach. So most of the times, okay, people are going to have one of two disturbances if your energy is blocked. You're going to have either gastrointestinal distress or a headache. By the way, you could get a rapid uprise of that energy when you get upset. And you throw up. People hear terrible news and they throw up. This is why. And looked at it from this model, we actually have tools that we can use to prevent that, to keep it from building, and from living a much more pain-free life. I mean, pain is going to happen. It's a given. I got a paper cut the other day. It hurts. We can't stop those paper cuts, but there's some things that we can't prevent, we can work with, and if we understand how the energy is supposed to flow, understand what it could manifest in, we could change the outcome. And that's today, Chapter 6, Anatomy of Chi. And thanks for telling your friends. I have a lot of information I'm going to put out there for everybody, and it's good for all.